in North America.
Yeah, here down in the south, the heat is real. Definitely here in Texas, it is pretty intense. So I know you guys are all taking those precautions you need to. I know you guys are still doing those long runs. You're still doing those speed workouts. You're still doing those things outside because we know the benefits of being outside and running. It's the fresh air, the sunlight, everything, um, versus being on the treadmill. But that's always use that as a tool for your safety. Running always has to be. It can't detriment your health. We can't risk things. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of running. So safely do it outside. Keep doing that. Know that you're going to have to increase hydration. You know, your fueling and your strategies are going to have to be on point.
Yeah, and the main reason we do all these each week is to kind of talk about different areas of running because we want to stay injury resilient.
That's
And
it.
tying it in with the heat, right, is very critical that we're being smart about this so we can stay
Absolutely.
injury resilient and keep running.
Exactly. Because I mean, that's really, I mean, we know what running is. We know the importance of it for our health, for our well-being, for everything. So we know, God forbid, when we can't do it, and that's the reality of when we really realize that, oh my God, I can't run. You know, and how many times have you
Yeah.
not felt that motivated to go out and run, but you still go out and run, but knowing that you can't,
It's a bigger deal when you're
that's a big
injured,
deal.
and when you're injured, and we want to try to avoid that.
And runners get injured at such an alarming rate, and there's no reason
Yeah. And as we
for
get older,
that.
the chances go up, which is why we talk about all this stuff. And so
Absolutely.
today we're going to talk about again this common theme of what now stretching and strength training. Strength training again is the foundation. As we get older, we must
Have
do it
to.
as much as we don't want to.
You
You will
have
be
to.
thankful, as we talked about last week actually, is that as you get older, you don't want to be the person that you cannot do something because you didn't deal with it today.
Yeah. It's you cannot go into your golden years, however you want to say it, being frail and being
Yeah.
weak. You know, running strengthens our heart. We know cardiovascularly that's a great way, but we need the other components of being strong. You need strong. You need to be strong to get through old age. You know, as my dad said, you know, it's not for the weak at heart because we know your health and your mobility is the key to how you live out your life, and strength has to be part of that.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to dig into again avoiding injuries, being injury resilient, and we're going to try to master the art of stretching and strength training. So, as we say each and every week, this is not medical advice. Please do your own research. This is stuff that we research and that we practice. We're sharing with you guys to get you to think for yourself. Again, think for yourself because you can do anything you believe in. And if you believe in yourself, which you should, then you can do this. This is why we're giving you a sounding board by doing these to give you a different point of perspective so you can think for yourself.
Absolutely.
And that is critical. But again, always talk with your doctor if you're doing anything, and then so you be safe and sound. So last week, real quick, we did talked about some fundamental keys to living your best life. We talked about nutrition, so critical, protein, protein, protein. We gave you some examples of some
Yeah.
recipes. Again,
Yeah, the timing's a little bit different. You know, now research changes all the time. No, we can't always say like this was, you know, this is what it was, you know, before. A lot of times it was spacing out your protein throughout the day or whatever. Now more research is showing that having the biggest portions in the morning and the evening are the best for, we're talking about building muscle, protein synthesis. We want to, now that you're trying to be a bodybuilder, but you are trying to preserve your muscle because you will be losing it if you're not doing that. So these are just some things that are, like I said, things that switch, things that, you know, we come across, we see, because we do know that this all changes. So you want to be, if you're eating the protein, have it be the work the best for you, just like your strength training and doing all that. Have it work the best for you. This is all so we can be not only better runners, but better, you know, functioning human beings later in life. That is the key. So
yeah. And we're going to talk about this today a little bit too, with the importance of strength training, about incorporating the push, pull, lunge, squat, hinge, and rotation. That's just your foundational stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're trying to think about living longer and you're optimal as you do that, you want to
Yeah.
optimize your gut health. We talked about the microbes and your bacteria, so your sleep, of course, and of course stress management. That's what we did last week, and today we're going to dig into some ideas around avoiding injuries, so you can keep. Again, the goal is to keep doing it where you're injury resilient, right?
Absolutely.
So why is this important? We all are guilty, ourselves included. You're like, I don't have the time. I don't want to do it, but it's critical for us as runners as we age.
If you have time for the miles, then you have time for the
little bit of extra.
For the dynamic, the warm-ups, the stretches, the mobility work, and the strength training.
And I know when you're short on time, because we're all guilty, myself as well, but when I do that and I take that little bit of extra time, I'm so grateful because my run is better. I enjoy it more. And but that's why, and again, sometimes we just don't do as much, and it's human nature. But again, the goal is to keep us injury resilient, right? And
exactly.
We're trying to be flexible and have our full range of motion, right? Because we don't want to be, we all are inflexible as we could be more flexible, but that we're all guilty of. So we got to keep working on that.
But that is for proper movement, for optimal movement. We all want to be able to run better, faster, longer. I mean, most of us, that's what we're striving for. The stronger you are, strength comes from the more range of motion you have with any joint, the more strength you're going to be able to have, and the more power you're going to be able to produce. So this is something, even though, the science may not support as far as it prevents injury or it makes a difference with this. The way the studies are laid out, they can't show that because they just go through a whole body of people, and it's like, did these runners get injured less? No, they don't parse out, did these group of runners also not sleep well, make critical training errors, which we know is the biggest thing for running injuries. So there's nothing that I don't believe, or that we don't believe, that stretching will not help. It does take a little more time, but you having that full range of motion, being able to do that strength training, that full range of motion, is going to give you the most power, the most strength, and the most ability to perform how you want to.
Right. And it's about performance improvement as we age, right? So lots of types of stretches there, but there's some core, if you take it to the highest level, there's really dynamic stretching.
Yeah. And that's obviously, you've heard of the dynamic warm-up, but dynamic stretching is you're stretching a muscle, and you're doing it for no more than 10 seconds. And that's going to be in isolation, or it can be as part of a warm-up, and do like we do for our dynamic warm-ups before we go running. So the full range of motion of the joint, of the muscle, but you're doing it through movement. You're not holding it still. So, and it can be anywhere from 3 seconds to 10 seconds, and then you're moving back. But dynamic, as the name means, is it's through motion.
Right, so. And it's best really when you're warming up. That's that type of stretch.
Yeah.
Then you've got static stretching, which is, again, going back to getting you that full range of motion, holding it for a little bit longer, 20 to 30 seconds.
Yeah. So this is best done after. So these have. Are you going to be holding stretches for a long time before you go run? No, that doesn't even make sense. But doing dynamic stretches before you run absolutely makes sense. So you get that, motion is lotion, as the, physical therapists say, because you need to have, your body needs to be warm up. You wouldn't go out and start to play tennis or soccer or something like that. You'd never see a team just run out on the field and start playing. No. You see them on the sidelines. You see them warming up. You see them. That's the whole thing. Running is a sport just like that. Even though it's a one-person sport, you still have to warm up and you still have to do those things. So that stretching, the dynamic stretching, can actually go into your dynamic warm-up. And like he says, when he does do it, which now he is doing it, it just makes the first couple miles of the run not suck.
Yeah, I just feel that I enjoy it so much better.
Yeah,
and that's when you're like, duh, why am I not doing this more, right? So some examples of these essential stretches, lateral lunges.
Yeah, we do.
And we've done some videos on this. We'll do it again.
A lot of videos or whatever, but yeah, we'll swing through and kind of put these back to, like I said, back together. But getting that movement going, getting your body warmed up to be able to, to do the motion of what running does. But leg swings, you do them, front to back, you do them side to side. That really warms up your hips, your glutes, all of that. So those are great. Hip circles are really for your hips, knee up, and do
Try to
a
do that circle with your knee. And I know we did a whole video, it's one of our sessions on this, but we'll do that again here, so you guys, in case you forgot what that is.
Yeah. But then most everyone knows, high knees and butt kicks. Those are things that are priming your body, and there's probably 100 different variations that you can do of these. But those are the main ones that really, warm up what you're going to be moving, those muscles that you're going to be using, for running. So
best static stretches, the world's greatest stretch.
Yeah. And this is, if you've seen a standing hip flexor stretch, you just rotate it, and it involves a stretch of the thoracic spine. But you can Google that. You probably, I'm sure most of you have probably seen that. But that is a great full body stretch, but especially runners have tight hips. That's a common problem. So that is a great stretch for that and for your back.
And then the problem is then we sit down in front of a computer, or we're sitting so much, it makes it even worse. This is the problem that I have from just sitting too much, right? So that's why I try to do that more. Of course, I always forget, but when I do it, it's like, why am I not doing more of this?
Yeah. But doing that right after your run, especially after a long run, you will feel better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Now, does the science say it's going to do X, Y, and Z? Like I said, those studies are hard to parse out, but I guarantee you're going to feel better. And there is a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. Because it's all about how we feel. Right?
Yeah. But calves, runners have so many tendinopathies and issues with that because of tight calves. Everything is connected, and we start with our feet. You have, Achilles injuries are, and all those tendons around there in your feet and your ankle complex. If you have tight calves, it's pulling on that. You're asking it, so you are repeatedly hitting the ground over and over again. If you have any tightness through this, just think over and over again, when it doesn't have the range of motion that it has, the effects that it can have on that. So you can't tell me that static stretching does not help with this. Or like I said, at least I will never believe that, no matter what the studies show.
Yeah, standing quad stretch, try to grab your ankle or your top of your foot behind you and just hold onto a wall if you need to, or a chair, something to stabilize yourself. Ideally, you want to do that without. That'll build up your strength of your feet, of each individual foot, and your balance, right? Which is critical.
That is a good balance one, but that will always have something to where you have something close by.
Close by, just
try
in
to
case.
do it.
Work up to it.
And yeah, like I said, work up to it. So you can do it.
Right, and then
just standing.
Hamstring stretch, and again, runners are notorious for tight hamstrings.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's your TFL. That's the small muscle on the front side. So that world's greatest stretch works for that TFL. You can do a standing TFL stretch too if you have a lot of tightness, like I said, in your hamstrings. If your pelvis tends to tilt, you have that anterior tilt. That usually means there's a strain on the front side of your pelvis, and that's your TFL that goes into your IT band.
Right, and the other key thing you can do there is I don't have it here, it's off to the side over there, is it's almost like a baseball, but it's one of these balls that we bought on Amazon, and
it's a little bit bigger.
It's a little bit bigger than a baseball.
Than a lacrosse ball.
Definitely bigger than a lacrosse ball and a baseball, but it allows you, and you have to just use that as a foam roller, and that'll find a spot. Trust me, that will find it. And wow, does that ever wake you up?
And like I said, we've done a few different. It's been a while, but we've done things on foam rolling. If you can, and I know foam rolling and then static stretching is the most ideal thing, and then doing an activated thing. We went through a whole series of that, but that does take time, and I know most people are like, nah, not doing that.
All right. It's human nature, sadly, but
if you're willing to do that, though, I guarantee there's a reason why I've been able to run 40 months every day without having a single injury. Because I was I don't have to knock on wood. I do the stuff I'm supposed to do. Yeah. But it forced me, because I knew if I did not do this, that would not happen. So I never did it before. So I went years without doing that. And then I found, wow, you feel better. I felt good when I run. My knees never hurt. I never have, my shins don't hurt, feet don't, nothing hurts. But I take the time because I know the importance of me being able to run is very contingent on doing these things. You can you can't just be myopic about the miles. You got to do the stuff that's going to allow you to run the miles. And like I said, you will feel better when you do.
Why strength training is important. Again, I know so many people cringe at this, but it's so critical as we get older.
Once you embrace it, and once you get, like I said, 8 weeks of
Momentum is all you need.
You will see results, and that is the beauty of it. You will see a difference, and it doesn't take years. It takes years if you want to get big, if you want to put on a lot of muscle, those kind of things. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking enough to make us a better runner and make us better function as a human being later in life.
And again, I said this before, but it's the key thing is when you get up in the morning, you do that one thing, getting in and out of the shower, you're doing something, bending underneath the sink, and you notice like, oh, that feels better. I'm stronger there. That's when you realize that you're making improvements, right? And it's going to keep you injury resilient. It's increasing your odds. You want the odds in your favor as best you can.
Yeah, over 60, falling is our
number
biggest
one
threat.
Yeah, at that point in time.
So it doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
it does not have to be.
So why it's important is you can increase obviously your resiliency, increase your speed.
You need to have power. You need to have strength if you want to run faster. That you need the mobility in those ankles. You need that mobility in your hips. You need to be able to have that knee drive and have that power. But the glutes cannot produce that force if they're not strong enough to produce that force. The stronger they are, the faster you're going to go. It 100% translates into that. So you want to run longer and you run faster, which most runners do. Strength is the key to that.
And it's going to improve your endurance, which is going to, again, it all goes back to making you feel better. I like this one. It improves your bone density. As we get older, we're losing so much bone density. And if you're strength training, you're going to reverse that or slow it down as best you can, which is critical.
No, you can stop it and you can improve it.
You can improve it. Because again, as we get older, the higher the risk of falling. And you hear people all the time, they break their arm, something breaks because they fell, because they were not doing these things.
That is a hip fracture. There are certain fractures that over the age of 65 can literally shorten your lifespan.
Yeah, which we're trying to avoid.
Where you don't want to, like I said, my dad wanted to die on his own terms, being able to do things for himself. But it was on his radar the whole entire time. So we need to have this on our radar, and it needs to be now, because we start losing muscle at age 30. So if you're not doing anything to build muscle, you could lose 40% of your muscle mass by the time you're 70. That's frightening. So that's not going to happen to us, because I know you guys are strength training. I know we just always have to hammer in. There's a reason why you need to do this. It's going to help your running. It's going to help your function, and it's going to help your longevity.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to maintain muscle mass, which is what we need, and improve your metabolism. You will actually lose weight.
The more muscle
you have, right? Because it improves your metabolism. It's just how the science works. It's how the body works. Absolutely. You cannot ignore that one. There's no double debate on that one.
Yeah, exactly. And body composition. Muscle takes more energy for your to maintain. The more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is. So, and the more muscle you have, and you can body composition, those last 5-10 pounds that you're trying to get rid of, strength training can do that. It's all just about changing your body composition.
And how many times have you tried to lose that extra 5 or 10 pounds, or you have friends or family? That's the reason, is they don't have enough muscle mass. They haven't been working on some kind of strength training to get that, because that's not going to get you over that hurdle. That is the key difference. And it's work. I know nobody wants to do it, but you're going to have to, and you will be happy you did it. And that's why we'll talk about this in just a minute here, but that's why we give you that accountability if you want to talk with us. But that's another form of the group that we're trying to give you that accountability, right? So anyway, here are some lower body exercises: reverse lunges and the curtsy lunge. The curtsy one is one that's become my new favorite, because you really feel it.
Yeah, we have, the big power movements or whatever are for our main glutes, but we have our glute medius, our side glutes also. that's the stability. Remember, it takes 20% of your energy to stabilize your pelvis when you run. That's a big part of the energy suck of running, So having the strength, having that deep core muscles be strong, but having that glute medius be strong also helps to stabilize your pelvis. So reverse lunges work on the motion that you're doing for running, works on your stability and your balance, and the curtsy lunges works on that side movement. Like I said, that glute medius, that's going to help stabilize your pelvis.
Bulgarian split squats, which are really, that's an
Hard.
easy one to do. They're hard, but they're the most beneficial. And then the goblet squat as well. If you have some weights, it's great. But if you're not quite there yet, then do them without weights. And that's okay too.
Yeah, the split squats, at first you probably will have to not do them with weights.
And you're going to probably have to hold on to something. I did because I lost some of the strength in my lower feet because of my plantar fasciitis, all the stuff that happened. But I've worked up to where now I don't need that.
Yeah, but those are two great things. Goblet squats, going down to that full range of motion, having that, being able to have your feet on the ground, your heels on the ground. When you squat down, making sure your knees are tracking the way they're supposed to, having the strength to do that will allow you to properly do those. And those, like I said, are great for glute strength, which is what we need to power our runs.
Exactly. And then another good one is the step up to balance. So if you don't have one of those boxes you'll see at the gym, you can always do this on some stairs. If you don't have that, you can easily buy one of those little step stools. Obviously, put that on a stable area, either a carpet or something. Don't have it on a tile floor that can slide around. You got to be careful.
Yeah, or if you're in a park, on a bench.
On a bench is another easy way to do it.
That's another good. There's always
options.
Platform.
Always options. You can be creative if you just think about it a little bit. You'll find something.
Yeah, but like I said, be safe about it. Have someone near you, or have something to where you can balance yourself. But you need to work on your balance. You need to work step ups, do that knee drive. That is a big thing that we have. So doing that is twofold. You do it with weights, you're going to build that strength, but you're also going to work on your balance, which works on all the stability muscles of your feet and ankle complex. We have tons of tendons and ligaments there. If they're not strong enough, if they're not able to recruit the right muscles to make that movement for every single step that you take, that you run, you just see the cascade, because you guys are not running for 5-10 minutes. You guys are running for half an hour, 2 hours. So these are just things that are going to help with strengthening the whole lower body that we need.
Yeah. And this is another, we talked about with the runners. I'm guilty of this with my calves and ankles have gotten weaker for a variety of reasons. But again, the calf raises, which I've been doing consistently now. And guess what? I noticed a difference. And the toe walks is an easy one to forget, right? Outside, try to walk. Do the grounding as we talk about. Take your socks off, feel the grass, and do toe walks. I've been doing that a lot lately, and it makes a difference. It's just like, duh, it's not that hard, and it's free. It's absolutely free.
Yeah,
right?
I know, but those are
great
easy
ones to do
for strengthening that foot and ankle complex. That's the foundation of your walking, running, everything movement that you do.
Yeah, exactly. We need that, and then core exercises. You have plank variations. This is one we've been doing recently at the gym, the stir the pot. So you have a Bosu ball.
No, you have a medicine ball.
I'm sorry, medicine ball.
I mean, not a medicine ball.
No, not a medicine ball. No.
Stability ball.
Stability ball, right. Yeah. Wow. The big ball. And you try to stir the pot. Ooh, boy, you will feel that. It's going to take some practice too.
That is one of those anti-rotation things. Remember, any of those anti-rotation things that make you stabilize your pelvis. Remember, when we're running, our body is having to stabilize our pelvis. So the stronger the muscles are, those deep muscles in your core that can do that, the better it's going to be able to stabilize you. It's the less movement you're going to have when you run. That's how that increases your running economy. That's how you can run longer without the fatigue. It's these things all add up. And that hollow hold, that is kind of a great thing, because it forces you to do that full body like contraction, and that it's just a V basically. That you do, and hold that for, you might be able to hold it at 20 seconds or 30 seconds, get to where you can hold it for a minute. Then you can do it with a band. You can do all variations of these things. Regular plank, all of you guys should be able to do regular plank. You should be doing some variation, either having weight on you, which that has to be controlled and someone has to be with you, or do, shoulder taps with it, do hip dips with them. Don't do the things that are really easy. Do the things that are hard. I still hate doing that stir the pot thing, and it's still hard. And I've been doing that for months now.
But the
But
benefit,
the benefit of it for my chin-ups, I know I need that. I need that for doing my bench press. I know all of that. The hollow holds are going to work for those big, huge movements that I'm trying to do. But it also works for it, whether you're trying to do that or not. It works for your running. So huge part of it.
yeah. And then the Russian twists are another core. That's a
For
great
the
core.
for the obliques, you want to work those obliques too. That's
Yep.
a huge part of it.
And
That's,
then the bird dogs kind of fish. That is again, it's an easy one to do, but you will feel it. It's great for the glutes, great for the upper shoulders as well,
and for the core, it's a huge
and for the core.
But
Absolutely.
the balance of doing that is one that it looks deceiving because it looks really easy, but it actually takes a lot of stability and a lot of core strength to be able to actually do that.
Yeah, and then some upper body ones. We talked about this last week and all the time about doing some simple ones, push-pull, right? So push-ups, pull-ups. If you have access to, if you're at the gym, you can do it. There's no excuse. Every gym's going to have that.
Yeah.
And if you don't at home, we have one here that we recently purchased. That's actually a really good one.
Yeah, and you can buy bands, assisted bands. Most of you guys doing a pull-up is a really hard thing. I'm still working on my chin-ups. It's a real, but I know it is a quality movement that is a full body movement that is going to help my functionality, not just my running, but in my day-to-day life. So worth striving to try to do.
Exactly. And then of course, deadlift. If you're at the gym, that you're going to have either the trap bar or just a regular bar or the
barbell,
the barbells, the dumbbells,
kettlebells,
the kettlebells. Excuse me. There's a variety of ways to do that. Do it safely, obviously. And if you don't, if you have some dumbbells at home, you can do that at home. Even if you don't even have any weights, just still practice that movement without a weight.
Hinge movement is a hard movement. So have someone videotape you or have someone watch you.
Or watch them, look in the mirror as best you can.
And stuff. That's a big one. That's a full body movement.
Yeah, it really is. You don't realize that, but
everything.
It is.
So if you had one thing to do, doing some push-ups and doing some deadlifts could be a workout for you.
Yeah, it really can be. So as we say each and every week, your nutrition is your foundation for everything. The strength training and stretching build upon that. But if you got wrong nutrition, you are not going to be able to move the needle. And I know we all know that it's critical for all of us. We all know that it's something that we're probably not focusing on enough of, which is why we talk about this all the time. So if you guys ever need any help with that, you can go to runtips.us/call. That is runtips.us/call. It's on the bottom of the screen right now. It's a free call. We'll set you guys up just to give you that little bit of help you get unstuck. You would be shocked how many people we talked with. Talked to somebody this week. And again, the feedback we get is, oh, thank you so much, right?
But it's just a little bit of things because it's confusing. Like I said,
it's overwhelming.
If you're overwhelmed, you're not going to do anything. So if you have questions or if you want us to research anything or if you want a topic that you want us to talk about, we will. Like I said, I'm a research geek. So
she is. Well, we both are in our own right.
Yeah. So it is just something that we want you guys to be healthy, happy, living that healthy lifestyle. Everybody deserves that, and everybody should be striving for that. And we hope you guys are doing that. But if there's any part of that you need a little help with, or just have some questions on, like I said, feel free.
Again, we're in our 50s. We're a high school weight. We want you guys to be healthy and happy and keep running and stay injury resilient. That's what we're striving for. We're sharing this with you guys to give you guys some information so you can think for yourself. Of course, think for yourself. And then obviously we want everybody to feel better and keep running to enjoy the sport as much as you can. So with that, we will end today.
All right. Happy Saturday, everyone.
See you guys next week.